What is up, people? Hope you're all doing well. As per usual, my name is Jake. Welcome back to more esports talk. And kapoo! Who's firing shots today? It's someone you probably did not expect. That's going to be Hastr0, the man himself, obviously of Envy, and now the Dallas Empire for Call of Duty. Guys, yes, I did not expect this. This came out of nowhere. He calls out another Mike out there, that being Mike from Dexerto, apparently for being biased because of a random article out there which CoD power rankings were involved in. And yes, it actually had Chicago Huntsmen, obviously of NRG, at number 1, and the Dallas Empire, Hastr0's team, at number 2. He was very upset by this in a fiery episode taken to Twitter, guys. And again, I'm not trying to take sides between Mike and Mike here. I love both these guys. I actually do love a ton of people in esports, including these two figures. But they went back and forth on Twitter, and I got to break it down for all of you. Hastr0, a fiery tweet about this, showing how apparently Dexerto is always biased towards the former Optic boys, and especially when it comes to now NRG tied to Hecz. He wanted to call them out for being biased towards the NRG Chicago Huntsmen because Dallas Empire was number 2 in the power rankings, even though they have been railing Chicago Huntsmen in scrims and other teams as well, which, to be fair, we have heard about. Keep in mind, guys, this is a random writer. It's not someone who's been told what to write. They choose based off their own opinion their CoD power rankings, which I actually thought were decent power rankings. Obviously, everyone inside the top 5 or 6 could be swapped around a spot or two. Hastr0 was super upset by this and goes even further to call out Dexerto owners, and with that, they're biased because of alleged ownership ties. Let me explain myself. What Hastr0 is referring to here is something that a few people out there certainly knew about. I don't think it was ever blown out of proportion. That being Hector Rodriguez had ownership ties. He had equity inside Dexerto for a amount of time. Now, obviously, if you guys have not watched and kept up to date on Hector himself, he is now obviously left Optic. He is now tied to NRG. That's why Hastr0 thinks if he's still an owner inside Dexerto and they're being biased and having NRG, who Hector is now a part of, as number 1 and the Dallas Empire as number 2, even though they're dominating scrims, you can see the mindset that Hastr0 has if he still thinks that Hecz is an owner, why they are being biased toward Hector's Call of Duty team. And he also alleges they've also have been biased towards Hector even when he was a part of Optic, always covering Optic Call of Duty content. We'll touch on that in a minute, but I must clarify, if you guys keep up to date on Hector, actually his latest podcast with Dexerto and their owners, by the way, he did come out and say he has now actually forfeited, sold back that equity and ownership inside Dexerto. He is now no longer an owner. Therefore, everything Hastr0 is trying to argue here about being biased towards Hector's team at NRG, it's not true because he has no ownership ties to Dexerto. Even further, it's actually Mike from Dexerto clarifying that they themselves, the owners, own 90% of the company, which I actually did not know about. It's pretty cool. The remaining investors are also anonymous, so when Hastr0 tries to say that they fluff their pieces, they try and bias their pieces towards of course, the investors they have that are tied to the teams they fluff those pieces for. That also begs the question, why is he making those accusations if he might not even know who the other anonymous investors are who do own a very small percentage of that company? It seemed like he was reeling a little bit as well. He then continues to actually go back towards the history of Dexerto when they mainly covered a lot of Optic content, a lot of Call of Duty content. Mike from Dexerto fires back and says, yeah, we covered Optic when they won champs, and of course they were the talk of the town, and we mainly covered Call of Duty. And I'm not trying to take sides here, guys. I understand the mindset of both where these guys are coming from, and I want to try and play a neutral party here. I understand as well where Hastr0 might be upset by this, but also when it comes down to it and covering content, when a site like Dexerto, Mike throws out a number that apparently 20% of their content at that time was Optic content. And let's be honest, guys, Optic Gaming, especially even still now, their name gets views. I can't even imagine back then for a website who covered primarily Call of Duty. Of course, you're going to cover Optic as much as possible. I don't know much about the bias and fluffing pieces towards Optic as well. When Hector was an owner of the website, that's an accusation I don't know if Hastr0 can really back up here. But yes, me myself, you guys know I cover Optic quite a bit because they get a lot of traction. They're a large name. I don't fluff my pieces. I'm not biased. I hope you guys believe that as well. So you can understand where both these sides are coming back from. But when it comes down to it, Dexerto owner Mike Kent has fired back several times, and I think he might be winning this Twitter battle. Not to side, I'm just saying. At the very end of the day, I got to appreciate the passion coming from Hastr0. He sees an article. This is a very passionate man, by the way, because he saw a Dexerto article by a random writer out there. Respect to the writer. I think he actually writes quite frequently when it comes to Dexerto. But he saw a random article out there, and he thought because they're ranked number 2 and not number 1, he needs to defend his team to the utmost, respect possible, which fair play to him. As an owner, you got to be passionate. You got to defend your boys. I respect that. when it comes to the actual reasoning as to why you need to defend them, it's an opinion piece out there, Hastr0. I don't think it means too much. I really do think the rankings on there are quite accurate. We all know that Dallas Empire have been owning scrims. Don't take it too personally if a website out there, an article out there ranks you guys not number one. A lot of people out there do believe you to be number one. I do respect Mike Kent from Dexerto, his response to all of this, because it did make a lot of sense as well. The heated rivalries continue inside Call of Duty, and I'm not done yet, guys. More Call of Duty content coming today, hopefully, as well as tomorrow. Who do you guys think won? You don't have to choose a winner, though, but Hastr0, heated moment, it does continue as we still approach the first inaugural season of Call of Duty League. All of these rivalries, they keep on coming, and we need this content. Until next time, hope you guys all enjoy. Take care of yourselves, okay? Be nice to each other. Bye-bye.